All right, Jim, we don't have a lot of data here with Doc Rivers. One game coached as we record this. This is in advance, actually, of the Portland game where Damian Lillard makes his return on Wednesday night. But what have you seen in the very limited sample we have since the Bucks parted ways with Adrian Griffin? 3 games with Joe Prunty. They're 2-2. But a competitive loss to a very good Nuggets team, defending champion Nuggets team. So what are you seeing? Is anything changed that really is notable that you think will sustain going forward?
I mean, it's the raising of the floor for defense, JR. There were no dramatic schematic changes from Joe Prunty, Doc Rivers, and maybe we'll see that down the line. But some very simple things, like the Bucks getting back in transition defense, the Bucks understanding who they're covering when they're running back down the court. When one of their shots goes up, the guy who's under or around the basket, he's there to offensive rebound. The other one, every other player is racing back to get in position and set a half-court defense. When they contest a shot and it's missed, there are multiple Bucks bodies there to try to grab a defensive rebound to finish the position. So again, very simple things that, quite frankly, were not happening very often under Adrian Griffin, not consistently enough. I think we've seen that since Joe Prunty first took over and has continued with Doc Rivers.
I guess I'm surprised that overall the national reaction to Doc Rivers becoming head coach is mixed at best, negative at worst, I would say. Obviously there's a fit in Milwaukee that is bigger than any other place because he went to Marquette University, and that's obviously not a reason to hire somebody, but it's what makes Doc Rivers beloved in this town. And if you fire a coach midseason, you just happen to have one of the 10 winningest coaches in NBA history, who also, by the way, just was coaching last season, just sitting around. That honestly makes perfect sense to me. But the playoff record is really being held against him. Give me your thoughts on that. Does it surprise you that people are, I think, a little sour on this relationship, or at least it's wait and see at best. Nobody is proclaiming this a home run hire, which I don't know. I don't know if that catches me a little bit off guard. I'm surprised people don't think this is a really good fit.
No, it doesn't surprise me, JR, in the sense that, look, Doc Rivers has, one more win. He ties Larry Brown, 2 more. He's the number 7 all-time winningest coach in regular season history. But he's also been a part of teams that have blown the most 3-1 leads of all time. I believe 10 straight game 7s or something absurd in that nature. And so, and I think there's those fan bases. Look, it's the same criticisms that Mike Budenholzer faced, that Doc doesn't adjust in series, that, when things are going wrong, he doesn't have the right feel technically, to either stop a run or change some things to do that. In 2008 was a long time ago. So I think when, he's gone from LA to Philly, JR, and expectations have been very high, and those teams haven't even gotten the conference finals. So I think, there are definitely fans from 2 of the bigger markets in the NBA who felt, when he left, that, promises were unfulfilled or expectations not met. Mm-hmm. And so that is what it is, right? Now, when you're the Bucks, look, we've spoken about Adrian Griffin's sort of status with the team, and I never felt they would fire him in season, because I guess I just didn't think Doc Rivers was John Horst, Craig Counsell, right? Like, I didn't think, or Joe Maddon, and sorry for Brewers fans to bring up the Cubs, but like, that's really the best thing I can think of is a team that thought they needed a manager to get over the top, and so they fired the one they had because Craig Counsell was available. I didn't think Doc was that guy, but I don't know why he wasn't interviewed in the summer. I don't know what changed from then to now.
For sure.
If it's strictly Dame, if they thought a team with Drew Holiday as the 3rd star, I don't think it's just about Dame, but it's a big part of it. So I don't know, JR. I get it from the external point of view of, is Doc the mastermind, But I don't know if they need this. I don't know if they need that. Like, I think they were 30-13 with Adrian Griffin and really struggling to find some cohesion on defense and some smoothness on offense. And Doc, I think that it's just to raise the floor. And I know that I don't mean to be disrespectful in that way, but I think it's just finding a level for this team. And Doc Rivers, at the very least, he's coached too long. I think he can bring that. And then, the playoffs, JR, we'll get to that, Milwaukee specific.
Yeah. Let's look ahead briefly to the trade deadline. That's coming up here soon in early February. And there have been a lot of trades floated. DeJounte Murray is one name that really comes up for the Bucks a lot. I don't even know what's realistic money-wise, contract matching-wise. It would almost certainly involve Bobby Portis leaving the Bucks, and I know there's some mixed feelings there. He hasn't been as strong this season as other seasons, but he is so beloved here and has been a big part of things. Pat Connaughton as well. I don't know if there's anything that you think is realistic on the table, but if there were, what's the area they really need to improve, and can they do it at the cost that would be associated with it in terms of guys that they're giving up?
Yeah, look, I feel I say the same things all the time.
Yeah.
With these last few years, it's hard to pick a person or a player and to be specific with John Horst, because I think, especially now, they've got 2 second-round draft picks, and that's it. Mm-hmm. They can put swaps on swaps, so they can sort of, trade, like the best or the worst of the swap with New Orleans or Portland. But, I mean, whatever. I think what they're looking for, though, is some perimeter defensive help to complement, Damian Lillard. Is Beasley, is he more attractive to stay because of what he's brought? Has the way he's played make him, attractive elsewhere? Cameron Payne is playing more now. Now that Adrian Griffin is not here, is Cameron Payne someone who other teams would value, or does he have more value now? I mean, the Doc Rivers part of this, JR, has changed maybe some of the calculus here. Are Marjon Beauchamp, Andre Jackson Jr. more expendable because Doc Rivers is here? And regardless of those names, they only all make like $2 million. So if you're going to move any of them, you mentioned Portis and Connaughton, and that's largely because of some salary things. Look, I don't know. I mean, is everything on the table? Is Chris Middleton on the table? Mm-hmm. DeJounte Murray makes $27 million. I don't know. I don't know. I think if the Bucks are going to try to win a championship this year, I think you keep your core 4 intact and you try to improve around the edges. But I don't know, JR, they fired a head coach 17 games over 500. They broke up the championship core a week before training camp. So I'm also not going to sit here and say I'm shocked if this team looks totally different in some way after February 8th. Jay Crowder was sort of the fringy addition. In season, generally, JR, it's fringy. Nikola Mirotic, it's George Hill. Look, PJ Tucker, everybody loves him because they won, but he was the role player. He he's not a star. So the history says it's someone like that, But again, I think history has been totally rewritten, under Wes Edens and Jimmy Haslam since September 27th. So I don't know. I guess that's why this week is so important for Doc Rivers, John Horst, and the Bucks, to see where they're at, how they feel about what they have, and what they need. And it's really interesting, JR. I mean, they're on the road. We'll be in Phoenix. That's when they traded for Serge Ibaka. Uh-huh. We were in Phoenix a couple seasons ago. So, and that's when Dante DiVincenzo went out. So, I know it's not really an answer, but I feel like anything and everything might be on the table for the Bucks in this year in particular.
He's Jim Owczarski. Find everything he has at jsonline.com. He'll be teaching Giannis how to shoot within 10 seconds and also writing everything that's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks. Thank you, Jim. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, speak soon.